How y'all doing? We will officially kick off a welcome here in about 5 minutes. So everybody feel free to say hello, drop it in the chat, say hey to Gabby. She's joining us from somewheresville.
That's accurate.
The life of a travel entrepreneur. That's what it is. But thankfully, she had Wi-Fi this morning. She was able to get here and give y'all this good info. So I am Lauren Gay. I am the creator of the Outdoorsy Diva blog and Outdoorsy Diva podcast, and I am a founding member of the Black Travel Alliance, and I am the chair of our training and events committee. So we are so happy to see the response for our very first BTA webinar. Super excited to have you guys come on with us. We only had a limited amount of seats. We had 97 seats, and y'all filled every single one of them. So that is really encouraging. We see y'all want this good information. So we are so happy that you're excited about being here with us, joining us, joining our mission. We are here to promote alliance, amplification, and accountability in the travel industry for Black content creators. So we are just really happy to have you guys and find more ways to engage with you, to grow this community, and we're really happy to have you here. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So this is our first webinar. We're gonna be talking about your with Gabby from Paxlight. Gabby is everywhere. Y'all seen her all over the interwebs. She is known for being a Gen Z adventure traveler and a travel entrepreneur. So Gabby's got great information. You want to make sure you're paying attention. Might want to take some notes. Might be a giveaway, something like that going on. So we want to make sure that you are actively ready for that. We'll announce the parameters for the giveaway towards the end. And you also want to make sure you stay to the end so that you find out first about what the next webinar for September is going to be. So without further ado, here is Gabby.
What's up, y'all? All right, let's get it started. Cool. So first of all, hello again. Thank you, Lauren, for the introduction. Thank you all for being here. My name is Gabby Beckford. I am the travel blogger, entrepreneur, vlogger, business person, everything from paxlight.com. I'm known, as she said, for being a Gen Z and adventure travel blogger, telling my stories on social media and my blog. And today I want to talk to you about using your niche to build an engaged community. This is something when people ask me like, oh, you're so young, how have you achieved this level of success? Not that I'm super famous or anything, but how have I gotten to where I am? And this is definitely one of the techniques, and I don't know, I guess it's a skill, but really it's just something that should be common sense and really will just save you work in the long run and help your audience build trust in you and make you known for being that person, which we'll get into, and just help you build an engaged community. Engaged is a key word here, because building a community is one thing, going viral for like a funny video and having millions of followers, but you want people who care about you and what you do and will stick around from you and eventually convert into other things like customers maybe, right? So let's get started. If you could save your questions to the end, that would be fantastic. If you have a dying, really a burning question, feel free to ask it in the chat and we will address it at the end. My guy Travis will give me the pop-inest questions at the end and we'll go through them in a Q&A at the end. So let's get started. Okay, and a reminder to share if you have anything that really resonates from this presentation, share it on social media, tag the Black Travel Alliance, let us know that you found value in it and that you liked the presentation. So let's start from ground zero. What is a niche, right? You're gonna hear me use it in two different ways in this presentation: as an adjective, this is an example right here. Other companies in this space had to adopt being niche players, niche work, niche travel, things like that. And you're gonna hear me refer to it as a verb, like niching down. And really, what does that mean? It just means being like very specific. That's a good synonym. Being in a specific category. We're going to show you some imagery later, but really just think about funneling everything, just funneling down, being super specific. Travel is pretty general. Gen Z travel, Black travel, teenage travel is like niche. So how can you identify your niche? If you're here and you're not sure, if you think that you're just a travel blogger, a travel creator, we need to get a little more specific than that, right? Because there's a lot of travel creators out there, and we want you to be known as that blank creator, that blank travel, like you're that person. So here are some examples of very popular travel niches: luxury travel, couples travel, location specific travel, like Africa travel creators, Asia specific travel creators, things like that, budget travel. These are examples of niches, and you want to get down to these niches, as we'll discuss further, because you want people to come to you for certain advice, right? Like, I'm sure I'm sure everyone has gotten a DM. Oh, I'm going to Kansas. Can you plan my trip? Girl, what makes you think I've been to Kansas? But then I have to think, like, maybe I haven't been specific enough in what my niche is, so they know what to come to me, like what questions to come to me for. Maybe they just think I'm just travel. Maybe they think I'll plan a walrus chasing trip in Alaska because I've just been talking about travel in general. Like, I need to be more specific so that my audience knows what to expect from me, right? So let's talk about identifying your niche. Why is niching important? Why can't I just be a travel blogger? Why? I don't want to do that. I want the freedom to do what I want. I felt like that for a long time. I still kind of feel like that. I still want to do whatever I want. But I now see the long-term strategy in being niche and being specific and being known as that blank person, because it, as I say here, it establishes you as an expert, right? And being that expert, being known as that Gen Z travel blogger, has led, for me at least, to quotes in publications. There's a publication that needs a quote from a Gen Z travel blogger and how they feel about traveling the pandemic. Who are we going to ask? Who are some Gen Z travel bloggers? I've branded myself like that, so they're going to come find me. They'll find me on Twitter because my name has Gen Z in it. They'll find me on Google because I've SEO optimized my stuff to have Gen Z in it, right? They're going to find me and they're going to ask me because I've marketed myself as the expert in this niche. Speaking opportunities, same exact thing. We need someone to come in and talk about luxury travel in Asia. Who can do that? I mean, if you've marketed yourself as that, they're going to find you eventually. Even if they're not rolling in right now, the consistency and commitment to a specific niche or even just a region, like at least one level down and niching down, is going to be helpful to you. And it attracts a specific audience, right? I market myself as the Gen Z travel blogger, so who's going to find me? Other Gen Zs, right? Young people. And that's what I want. I niche down specifically in my case because I want to attract a certain audience, because I want them to be in the same headspace and mind space as me, and because I want them to, I don't know, build trust in me, which is the third one. Me specifically with Gen Z, I know that I know me and my generation, so having a Gen Z to Gen Z conversation, I think, establishes trust. If you're a Black person talking about Black travel in Antarctica, and you niche yourself down as that and you talk about yourself as that type of expert, you're going to find other Black people who want to go to Antarctica and be like, oh, she's good. I know her. Like, it establishes trust in your audience, and it helps them, as I said before, know what to expect when they come to your page. If I'm just a travel blogger, they'll come to my Instagram and see me talking about goggles for sledding. The next day, maybe they come to my Instagram and they see me talking about skydiving trips in Ouagadougou. Like, it's just kind of general, and you just never know what you're going to expect when you come to my page if it's just general travel. But as we talk, as I'll get into later, if you come to my page and I market myself well, you'll always know what to expect, and you kind of keep coming back for more. Like, right? Like with the Marvel movies, you know each one's going to be action packed. You know each one's going to have like a little bit of humor in it. You know each one's going to have some guy who's way too ripped and then he rips his shirt off. Like, you just know that. That's why you keep coming back, because you know what to expect, at least a little bit, right? And having that trust converts those followers into an engaged community, and eventually, if that's your path, into future customers, which helps you build a business and do this full time like me. So can you layer your niches? Can I be a Black adventure travel blogger? Can I be a Gen Z and adventure? Yes, please do. Please do. The more specific, like we said, is the better. So I consider myself Gen Z travel and adventure travel. You can be luxury and Black travel and family travel. You can market yourself as that. You can market yourself as couples travel and African focused travel. Please do, because I might imagine it as tiers, right? Like travel, and then you choose one. Luxury travel. Luxury travel for who? Luxury travel for people in their 30s. Luxury travel for people in their 30s who are women of color. Like the lower down into that rabbit hole you get, the more you'll find your people who want that specific content. And when they Google that weird sentence on Google, like curly hair girl wearing an Argyle shirt in Pembroke, Virginia, the more specific you are, the more those specific people will find you, right? And that's what you want. So I'll use myself an example. That's all I can do. My niche, as I said, Gen Z travel and adventure travel. When you come, well, like I chose that niche, and I consider these adjectives part of my brand: adventurous, budget friendly. I'm young. I'm slightly poor. Budget friendly, colorful. You go on all my social medias or platforms, you're gonna see color. I don't like the minimalist thing. Interesting, trendy, clever, positive. You know, I have my delusional confidence gig. That's what I think about myself, right? What about my audience? There's a direct correlation, at least for me, in niching down my brand attracts me a certain audience. And I want my audience, in my own case, to be kind of like me, right? I want them to be adventurous. I want them to be budget friendly. I want them to be colorful and interesting and all these things that I just said, because I want to, like, the things that I like and the things that I promote, I hope that my audience likes. And there's just a direct correlation to. So the more you can be specific about your niche and your brand, even if the people that you want to attract aren't you exactly. Maybe I'm 24, but I want to market to luxury travel people, right? I'm going to market my niche and my brand in a certain way so that it mirrors my audience. I'm going to do luxury travel in a specific way where I want specific people to come and find me, right? And I just stick to these. Everything I post or everything I do, I think about this. Is it adventurous? Is this budget friendly? Is it colorful? Is it like lively? And if there's something interesting, like, oh, maybe, I don't know, there's a museum about feet. Am I going to post that? I mean, it's kind of interesting, but probably not. It's kind of off niche, and I think it would just muddy up my brand, right? And that's just kind of how you stay niche, right? Just staying really specific. Doesn't mean that you limit yourself in the things that you talk about or the things that you do, but it does mean that you approach it from a certain angle that lends itself to your brand and your niche, which will, as we said, build trust, build community, and find those specific people you want to find to be your engaged following. Okay, so how to make sure you're niching down. Gabby, you told me to niche down, but how, Sway? How? Here we go. Ask yourself these questions. What is my platform's mission? Mine is seek risk, seize opportunity, see the world. As I said, those adjectives that I had on the previous slide, I think about those. I think about my tagline. Is what I'm posting, is what I'm doing, is what I'm promoting related to my brand, in my niche? Am I in my lane that I've created for myself? Is 80% of the content I posted related? I mean, you can go off the cuff. I could post about the feet museum if I really wanted to, but 80% at least shouldn't be a surprise to your audience. I think it should be expected or relatable, or like they could see you post and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense for her. But if I suddenly start posting about spending millions of dollars on a yacht and treating people badly, I think my audience would be like, girl, what the hell? Like, where did you get this from? So think about that. Is 80% of the content that you post related to your niche? Is the engagement you're getting authentic, excited, and relevant? Maybe you posted something on YouTube that went viral, right? Everyone loved it, tons of engagement, but the video was about a hair straightener and you're talking about Black travel. I mean, that attention is good, and maybe all press is good press, but are those people going to stick around long-term on your blog and convert to customers and sign up to your email list and message you on your birthday and say, like, I loved following you, good for you? Like, think about that. And it's good to have content go viral, as always, because you get to, it's kind of like a good resume builder, I guess. It's good experience, but you do want to have content that performs well in your niche so that you find those specific engaged audience that you want. If brand new viewers had to describe your niche in 3 words, what might they be? If someone new, your auntie who does not get on her phone often, goes to your platform right now, what would she describe it as? And do you want to be described as that. If you come to new eyes to your Instagram page and you're like, oh, it looks like I post about dogs and cameras and and beaches a lot. Is that your brand? Like, just, there's no right or wrong, but you need to think about, is that what you want to be known for? If not, if you were trying to be the adventure skydive person, you're talking about dogs all the time, maybe that it's not conducive to your goals and your brand and your business, right? And same thing, you're known as the blank person. Your hair straightener article goes viral and you're like, I need to do more of that stuff. I'm gonna post more hair straightening videos. I'm gonna post more beauty tips. That's fine. Follow the virality, follow what the need from your audience, but is that what you want to go be known for? If Ellen or Wendy Williams calls you and says, she's the hair straightener girl, are you going to be happy about that? Just think about that. For example, I am selling apples. I'm the apple girl. That's what I'm known as. They're just calling me the apple girl, right? And someone calls me and says, hey, do you have oranges? No, girl, I'm the apple girl. Why would you ask me that? You need to be known as the apple girl. And when people, when the person calls you for oranges and they're like, well, I mean, I found you at the fruit stand, you were next to the oranges and you took a lot of pictures. I saw them on Instagram. I just kind of thought you did like more than that, more than fruit. Went to your website. It was kind of vague. I didn't really know. Your website is called I Love Fruit. I didn't know if you were just apples. People told me that like you had been holding a plum 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you had plums. Like, people just keep calling you for unrelated things, right? You need to be known. If you want to be the apple girl and you're just kind of vague marketing and you talk about different things, you talk about plums, you talk about oranges, people are calling you for those things. Listen to the feedback. Listen to the feedback from your audience. The comments that you're getting are, oh, like, what do you do? Why is this apple? You need to make sure your brand marketing is crystal clear. Like I said, your auntie who doesn't use her phone needs to come to your website and be like, wow, it's so obvious that you do this. And they need to, like, that gives the customer or the new follower or viewer the opportunity to know truly what you do and then decide if they want to follow you or not. You're not going to have every follower in the world, right? Like, not everyone's going to like your stuff, but you want to make sure that you're as crystal clear in your mission and your content as possible so that people can make, I guess, kind of like an informed decision, right? Like, I want to make sure I know what I'm following, because if I follow you for apples and one day you're posting plums, I'm gonna be like, girl, I came here for apple content only. What is this? And I'm gonna be upset. So just be crystal clear in your marketing, and that's gonna help you find your engaged community. I really want to be clear in this. It takes time. It takes time. You can't set up your apple stand and just have everyone flock to you, right? Like, it takes time to build trust. You can't rush a flower to grow, but you can optimize its environment for success, for the best growth. Like I said, by being specific, stupid specific, just mentioning for SEO purposes and for marketing purposes, just mentioning apples or whatever your niche is all the time. You can never well, I guess you can technically with SEO, but you can't really over market yourself specifically, because that's what you're known for. You can't yell at me for talking about apples. I'm the apple girl. Being specific, being consistent, like I said, 80% of your content should be niche related. And like I said, mine's Gen Z travel and adventure travel. So that's those are still kind of broad. I can angle anything I do in those two lenses, but be consistent in that and be committed. Let's just say you're Peruvian and Black, and you want to talk about, I don't know, gosh, what type of travel is it? Luxury travel, sure. So you're Peruvian and Black and luxury travel. That's not popping off. Man, it's been like 2 months. No one liked my article about being Peruvian and Black and doing luxury travel. Someone left a hate comment. Like, should I quit? Should I just go do GoPro travel or TikTok travel like everyone else is doing? Stay committed. If you know that you're good at something, if you know you are the expert girl, you are that. You are, and you have the skills and you have the knowledge, and maybe you don't know if your audience is like out there in masses, but you know at least there's like a core audience out there who will find you. Do that. Please commit. Stay committed, and with time, they will find you. You just have to give time for your flower to grow, please. And once you have a niche community, provide value. That's how you really turn a follower into an engaged friend, like an engaged community member, right? Is by entertaining them, by inspiring them, by educating them, by fostering community, just varying your content, keeping it interesting. No one wants to go to a TV show and see the same episode over and over, or see something off topic. Just think about those really basic concepts of what do I think they want to see. And really, when I say provide niche value, when I say provide value, I kind of mean provide free stuff, like free knowledge, free education, free entertainment, like just providing value. I mean, my mom pays for Netflix, but somebody pays for Netflix. And I don't want to go to Netflix and see, like that I'm being charged for every single little thing, or that they're kind of like gatekeeping and that they're hiding knowledge. Like, oh, here's just a little sprinkle, but don't get any ideas. Like, no one wants just that attitude that the person that you're following is not there to help you. Like, everyone wants to follow someone because they want to be helped. And please don't just give away everything for free, but provide value, actionable value. Give maybe steps 1 through 5 and leave the rest of the 10 behind that gated wall. But provide value. Like, think about the value that you see in the people that you follow them for a reason. What makes you follow them? Oh, they post a tip every Wednesday. Try that. Oh, they post really funny captions and it makes me laugh and it reminds me to be grateful about my life. Try that. Just those things that provide value and make you stick around. That's the same thing that you want people to find in you and stick around and become engaged members. Like I said, who message you or email you for your birthday and say they love your content, or as soon as you drop that ebook, they're the first ones to get on the waiting list for it. You want that type of engagement, right? And not just a bunch of followers who really could care or not. And here are just some resources. These are my favorite books. Hopefully you've heard of at least one of them. Blue Ocean Strategy is fantastic. That's why it's up there number 1. You can click on these and it'll go to the Amazon link. But if you're looking for some light reading, read these, or go on YouTube and type these in. And people often do like little cliff notes of these, like summaries of their messages. So go look into these books. It's just really about turning a cold lead into a warm lead through the vehicle of being super specific and consistent and committed to your niche. So I think that's all I got. Let's do some Q&A. I gotta breathe, I need some water. My God, Travis. Should I open the chat?
Travis is going to field the questions to you, Gabby.
Okay, I'll just keep the presentation open.
All right, can everyone see me?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, thank you, Gabby, so much for that great presentation. So many gems about niching down, being consistent, which is something I know I struggle with, and staying committed and patience. So thank you so much for those resources. So guys, I'll keep doing on a rolling basis, but drop your questions if you have any for Gabby. And I wanted to take the time to announce our next webinar. It will be Saturday, September 19th. We have Tomiko Harvey of Passports and Grub talking about SEO for beginners. So it's going to be really, really good. You don't want to miss that. Again, that's September 19th on Saturday at 12 p.m. So mark your calendars for that and check for the announcements for that soon. So let's get started on the questions. And Tiffany, I guess you can connect with Gabby directly on the questions you had for her. Tomiko asked, can you combine the business aspect of blogging with your travel brand?
Yes, definitely. I'm not sure if I understand your question completely, but if you're just asking if you can kind of provide your brand and your passion with a business in a business type way, absolutely. That's what I do. That's what all of us do, hopefully, is that the business aspect of it is like a result of the passion that we have. And like, we do what we love because we love it. And like the business part is just kind of like an attached part of it. But yes, I feel free to re-ask that. Sorry if I don't understand your question completely.
Okay.
Gabby, you have another one. Do you recommend the niche be specific to one area, or can it be a range of areas?
Great question. How do I go back? There we go. Layer them things. Please do not get stuck in one. Don't just be the bike travel person and you don't have the freedom to talk about anything besides bikes. Like, I think anyone would get burnt out from that unless you have like a brand, unless you brand yourself, and maybe you have multiple brands, like a personal brand and a very specific brand. But if you, like me, I have one brand. I could split up into Gen Z travel and have an adventure travel account and a personal travel, but I think I would just end up dying. But please, if you are just, I want to do something, but I'm not sure if I can, please double up. Like I said, travel is the top layer, the biggest funnel, the most overpopulated. It's ridiculously populated. The further down is the rabbit hole you go. Gen Z adventure travel from a young Black girl who speaks Spanish and has lived in Dubai. Like, that's pretty niche. So the more niche you get, the better, honestly. And you can always re-niche back up. Like, I can be that super niche person, and then someone's like, hey, can I have a speaking opportunity for a Black travel expert? I'm down here in that. Like, I can definitely go up to more general, but you want to definitely make sure that you are aware of how deep your niche can go. So just so you have the full options.
Gotcha. Awesome. Ursula asks, what are some good examples of other Black content creators who have niched down? So are there any people that come to top of mind that you think really do niching very well?
Sojourner, hey boo, she's on here right now. She is a social worker by trade. Let me try not to butcher your career, girl. She's like social work by trade, and like she really talks about like getting into race and travel intersectionally, and she does a great job of that. She, like, when I think of someone who talks about the intersectionality of race or gender, especially being a Black traveler and then travel in general, especially international travel, that's Sojourner. So she's super, super specific. Adventure travel, I think of, oh, this was the worst question for me. I'm so bad at names, please. Maybe y'all, Travis, y'all want to help me out, Lauren?
I think I niched down pretty good.
Yes.
I'm crazy diva. Like, you know, it's outdoor and adventure, but I'm also known for doing solo travel and for Black women. And like what Gabby was saying about, it takes time. You know, 4 years ago, being Black and in the outdoors wasn't popping like it's popping now. And now I'm booked and busy. So stick with what your lane is and what you're passionate about. She's absolutely right.
Yeah. Also, Rashida Doe, I love her niche as well. It's about the adult gap year. So it's not for young backpackers, it's for people in the middle of their career or at near the end of their career that want to take some time away, whether for a year or indefinitely abroad. So I love her niche as well. It's not something you see every day with other brands.
And she talks about that every day. Everything that she posts, if I control F, I would find the word adult gap year in it. Like, she heavily like is known for that term and those words. So like I said, you cannot over niche yourself or over brand yourself ever.
Nadine, The Sophisticated Life, is another one. She's awesome. So she mixes her profession, you know, with her passion, because she is a medical doctor. And she does mix in a lot of great information into travel and being a doctor, but she's also known for being luxury and wine. People think wine, they automatically tag Nadine. So that's another way to kind of a litmus test to know, I think you'd agree, Gabby, if you are in fact niching down. Like, when articles come out or opportunities come up, are you being tagged by your own audience, by your people, by your community? Are they saying, hey, I saw this and I thought of you? That's a really good litmus test for you to know, do people really recognize me for what I want to be recognized for?
Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions? Feel free to drop them. So, Gabby, you mentioned books that would help people with this. Are there any sort of like websites or really like stand out articles that you've read that you might recommend to people to read to kind of get started on that process?
I really swear, like Girl Scouts honor, y'all got to start with Blue Ocean Strategy. Please do yourself the favor and don't look for the shortcut and don't look for the 1 minute TikTok where someone summarizes it. Sit down, get some wine, read that book, because really it is the best explanation of how we're all in this blue ocean, right? Of oversaturation and like, I don't know, in attention and information, and we're oversaturated. But if you can just find one vacancy, like I think, like Lauren said, Nadine does a great job of combining her profession in her travel blog. Once you find that one niche that no one's in, and you just like tickle it a little bit, boom, you're known. Like it's just the attention explodes for it, and you're known for that. And Blue Ocean Strategy does a great job of that. So please do that. Honestly, okay, I just said not to do TikTok, but like maybe like get on TikTok a little bit, because they really like they do compress a lot of information to a short period of time. And if you just type in like hashtag marketing tips and then scroll through a few of them, like they have great book suggestions, and then they have like great information in a really short period of time. You can spend 30 minutes going through 30 TikToks and learn a lot more than you could watching YouTube.
Right. Tiffany, unfortunately missed the beginning. Can you quickly go over those exercises or things you recommend to come up with a niche?
Yes. What is happening? Okay. Let me get out of that mode. Sorry about that. Oops. Okay, there we go. Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, girl, I was right on. Why am I looking around? What are people asking you about your niche? You're talking about travel, right? But maybe what I like to do is take screenshots of the questions that I get. I mentioned this in another live that I did, and people were like, that's so smart. And then the other half were like, girl, you're all crackhead. But really, take screenshots of the DMs, the questions you get, the type of comments you get, the most engagement that you get from your audience. If you post a post about you backpacking and suddenly people are interested, like, oh, where is that? How can I do that? Like, how did you get there? I screenshot questions and put them in a Google Drive. I probably have like thousands right now, but that will just show you what level of interest is in certain topics, and specifically what type of topics that they're interested in, right? So you look through them, you scroll through them, you're like, damn, people have been asking a lot about being a Black woman in the Middle East. Maybe I should, maybe that's my niche. Maybe that's the need that my audience has. And it's something that I really like doing. I could talk about it forever. And that should be my niche. So maybe explore that. And then you figure out like, oh yeah, I don't like talking about that. Take a step back, go back into that archive and go look, what have people been asking me about? I think Lauren had a great point. What are people tagging you in? I'm also always tagged in, oh, sorry, my screen's not sharing. Or no, this was sharing. Sorry. What are people tagging you in? I'm always tagged in scholarships and opportunities, and I love that because that's what I want. I always share scholarships and opportunities, and people are DMing me them like, hey, have you seen this? I'm like, no, but thank you. So yeah, that just being intentional and aware, keep your eyeballs open and see what's performing well. I also am a huge advocate of data. Look into the data, please. Look at your Google Analytics. Look at your SEO keywords. Like I said, Google Analytics. Look at your Instagram Analytics. They're fantastic. Later is a great software to use to look at your social media holistically and just look at what is, like, have you guys seen word clouds where like the biggest words are the ones that have been talked about more often? Think about that. Like, what am I related to? What is closest in relation to me? I hope that's helpful.
Gabby, can you repeat that? You said use Later?
Yeah, later.com. I think it's also an app. Later.com, use your Google Analytics. Instagram Analytics are fantastic. I'm sure there's another app I use for data. But Twitter Analytics are actually pretty great too. If you go into your Twitter Analytics, there's like analytics for every single piece of software that you think. TikTok Analytics are great. Go into them and just start clicking around. Facebook Analytics are great. Just look around and you'll find out a lot more than you could have imagined. You go on your Facebook and you're like, wow, people have been really responding to my topics about traveling with a dog. Maybe I should make a blog post about that. Like, lean into that.
Perfect, thank you. Ursula came up with a great question. There's a lot of positives about niching down, but what are any negatives or things to really watch out for so that you don't limit building your brand moving forward?
Absolutely. That's a great thing to be aware of. Like I had said earlier, that you can things go viral, right? Things that you don't think are going to go viral, get a lot of attention. And like I said, maybe you post an article about a flip-flop and it goes viral and you accidentally get known as the flip-flop girl, and everyone, you post something else and they're like, boo, more flip-flops. You're like, oh my God, I don't I don't want to be known as that blank girl. That's definitely a risk, something that could happen to you. I would say when that happens, when you accidentally become known as something that you don't want to be known as, I always say it's about perspective. Try to like angle it back into, just kind of like soft pivot back into what you want to be known as. Okay, the flip flop went viral. Haha, yeah, I got you guys. But I'm really into adventure. Watch me wear these flip flops as I jump out of a plane. Just angle it back into what you want to be known as. Other risks that you take niching down is getting too niche down. I'm really Gen Z travel. I rep it hard, love it. But if someone came to me asking about retirement and travel, I got nothing for you. I can't, even if I wanted to, even if it was CNN, I'm like, I could make something up. I can't. Nope, can't do it. And even if I did, even if I had that knowledge and I went on CNN and talked about that, it just wouldn't come off right. People would see me talk about it and be like, oh, okay, and investigate me further and go to my brand and be like, she is not branded like this at all. This is so, like, it just doesn't fit me, and it wouldn't be in my best interest, even if I had the knowledge about it, to talk about it. So sometimes you can get a little bit, I guess, stuck in a niche, but I don't, as I say, I don't think that it's possible to be really, really stuck in a niche, because you can always look at any content through the lens of your niche. So if I want to talk about sheep, completely out of my lens of my travel blog, but I can always put it through a lens of adventure. Sheep can survive a fall of 200 feet. Like, let's watch this. Like, you can always put that lens on it. And I would just say that, just be careful about, like, you only limit yourself, I think, honestly. So keep your mind open and just continue to be learning and looking at other people and how they bend the limitations of their niche.
Nice, thank you. Next one is, can you give 2 or 3 challenges that you had niching up?
Challenges I've had. No one wanted to talk about Gen Z for a long time. Gen Z wasn't even a word when I got started. I was like, all we had was millennial, and then like after. So I was post-millennial for a while, and people were like, boo, that sounds weird. I'm like, okay, but there's no word for it. So as soon as Gen Z, the word came out, it was awesome. But people did not care about my demographic for a long time in travel. Like, you're too young, you don't know anything, you have no money, get out of here. Like, no, we have money, please. So no one cared. That was tough. And yeah, being young. I guess. No, I don't want to get into that. I don't know. Just being consistent was really, really tough. Travis mentioned that. I'm sure everyone on this call knows that being consistent can be tough. You just get those little moments of doubt. Maybe I could get into luxury travel. Maybe I could try that. That's really tough to stay consistent. And like I said, you only have to have 80% of your content really into your niche. And like I said, you can bend those limitations, but it can be tough to stay within those 80% confines. And then a third one is being committed to my niche. Like, it's tough. It is tough to, like, all you want to talk about is adventure travel, or Gen Z travel. And if I do a luxury experience, sometimes I have to think, oh, can I even share this? Like, does it fit well with my brand? Is it in my best interest to share this? And would anyone be able to afford this? Like, yeah, those are limitations, staying on brand, staying consistent, and maybe having a niche that no one cares about for a while, or I don't know, infinitely. Those are 3 issues I've had.
Gotcha. Awesome. Sojourner asks, how do you maintain boundaries with your community without alienating them? Or to rephrase it, how to be personable without oversharing?
Sojourner would ask that question. That's a good question, girl. I give people enough to answer the question, to scratch the itch, enough to answer the question where it's not too vague and they're like, you didn't answer the question. You're avoiding the question. What are you doing? But not too much where they have information that they just don't need to have. I keep it need to know. I think about like government clearances. It's need to know. Like, I'll give you what you need to know. So things that I do to keep a little bit of a boundary, the hotels that I stay at, I don't share them until I've left. And usually people are okay with that. They don't need to know the second I'm at the hotel, right? And they're just happy to know I share it afterwards, but that keeps like my personal safety. And I just, I don't know, it's kind of weird to know people know where you sleep. So I just share that when I leave. Other things, to deflect to personal questions, I try to make general blog posts about topics that people ask about. So people love to ask about my race. They love that. And I don't want to give the story the entire time. So I've written a blog post that explains it and answers the question just enough to scratch their itch and have them on their way without them coming back and answering me too much. So when they ask me super personal questions that they should be asking because they're rude, I just direct them to the blog post. And I'm like, here, please read this. Let me know if you have any questions. They never have any questions because it's too much work. So having set information where they can kind of reference it, like in a billboard, that's the best thing I've ever done for myself. So I hope that helps.
Perfect. Brenda asks, how did you build your audience?
Slowly, so slowly. I started when I was 18, 19, and I'm 25. So that's a long time. Really being consistent, being specific, being committed. That's it. How do you get a flower to grow? You water it, you feed it, and you watch it intensely. Some other things that I've done to build an engaged community, I think being transparent and honest without giving too much is something that people just resonate on, like a vibe level, on like a level that you can't really put it into words, but something about it they just like. So I like to think that I'm super honest, and maybe I overshare more than other people would, but I just share what I'm comfortable with. I think people like that, and people like my style of building an audience is just being transparent. So I'll post myself in the car on the road trip, like, oh, my shoe just fell out of the window, and I'll share those little moments like that. And I think people like that. They like me and my personality, and then that makes them like my brand in general. Whereas other people may lead with their brand in general and either keep themselves out of it completely or put themselves in the back burner as like a personality. But all I know is from what's worked for me, and I think most of my engaged community follow me for me, and they like my content second, if that helps. But if you're leading brand first, then it's being consistent, being specific, and committed, and waiting. No one likes that part.
Patience. Yeah. Monique has an interesting and I guess time-specific question, the sign of the times. How do you stay consistent with travel posting during COVID-19? She has her Meals and Miles blog where she posts food and travel, but she lacks in the travel posting due to all the travel restrictions.
Yeah, I think the pandemic specifically has been a good upset in what it means to be consistent or what it means to be on brand, because there are some things you just can't do, right? Like, I just can't go to Japan right now. It's just not going to happen. So if I had a Japan blog, I think I'd be a little bit frazzled. But I think you can still be consistent in the way that you communicate with your audience, and with the consistency that you do so, and with your attitude that you do so. So maybe you're not flying and you have a Meals and Miles blog and you're like, what am I going to talk about? I don't think I have specific like content suggestions for you, but just showing up. I think number one, being authentic and transparent about what's happening. Hey, I have a Meal and Miles blog. It's a pandemic, y'all. Like, just letting you know, like, this is why things might be different from now on. But yeah, like I said, being consistent in how often and in the way that you do so, communicate with your audience. And then I think now is a good exception to the rule, where it's okay to A/B test some content, sharing other people's stories, posting interviews, looking at the news around the world, talking about, wow, what's going to happen in travel? Let's talk about it. What do I think? What do the statistics say? How has this changed in the last month? Just those types of things, I think, will keep you on topic and in the way that you communicate, but you don't have to keep doing what you've been doing, if that makes sense.
And I think we can do you have time for one more question, Gabby? I know you're on a tight schedule.
Yeah, I have time.
Okay, great. So Ursula asks, beyond questions from your audience, how do you determine what to write about? Are you doing keyword searches or looking at tools like Google Trends to figure out what is of interest to Gen Z?
Yes, I'm doing a combination of, I am Gen Z, I'm the expert, so what I say goes. But also with the understanding that the Gen Z and Black travel and Asia travel is not a monolith. If I feel this type of way and I'm a Gen Z, there's a subsect of Gen Z who feels the same way, and at least I can represent them. So I never try to represent my entire audience when I say I'm a Gen Z travel blogger or a Black traveler, because y'all know that doesn't work. But I know that if I feel this way, someone else feels that way, and I don't have to sweat the small stuff. Like, is all of Gen Z gonna like this? Am I representing every single person? They'll be all right. I definitely know I can at least represent myself and a portion of people who think like me. In terms of what I write about, I do try to be, did I have this on the slide? I try to be timely, like relevant. I don't know how that's the list. Yeah, I try to be relevant to what's going on. That's always going to be popular, no matter what your niche is. Things that are trendy are always trendy for a reason. Go with that. I write about, like I said, if I want to know something, I know someone else wants to know something. And maybe that's just by being so engaged with my audience all the time and looking at the comments I get. And yes, I do look into my data, like I mentioned. And I follow other people in my niche. That's a great suggestion. You don't have to pretend you're the only person in your niche. There are other people. That's okay. Y'all can be friends and work together and feed off of each other. Follow them, friend them, ask them. We're all out here hustling. Like, just ask them. Be like, hey, I saw this post was really popular. Like, do you know why? And they're like, oh yeah, I think it's because this happened in the news. And you're like, I didn't know that. Maybe I can feed off of that. I think having an abundance mindset in that context is really important, because I do have people come and ask me, like I'm doing here, how do you get into that? What about your niche? What do you write about? And I'm just really transparent. So I think being transparent with other people helps them be transparent with me. So asking people, looking at what your audience is telling you, audience feedback, data, and the news. That's four.
Perfect. And just to wrap everything in a pretty bow, do you have any last word of wisdom you want to share to the attendees today?
In terms of our topic of the day, using your niche to build an engaged community, I really say focus on engaged. Numbers are cute. Numbers of likes and followers and comments, that's cute. But when it comes to building a business, at least when it comes to converting people into people on your email list, when it comes to getting those happy birthday or like, oh my God, your brand changed my entire life, those types of comments with like some grit to it, like some substance, you really want to be niche and provide value and build an engaged community. So I would just say, be consistent, be committed, be specific, be transparent, and be open to pivoting, I guess. Be open-minded. Like, you're all right.
Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Gabby, for
Thank
being with us. Can you tell everybody the best way to follow you, get in touch with you?
Yeah, so as I said, and hopefully as you know, my name is Gabby Beckford. I'm Paxlight on every single social media. I think I'm on Twitch. Like, I'm on every single social media. You can follow me at Paxlight, paxlight.com. And of course, I'm a founding member of the Black Travel Alliance. Please go to our website, blacktravelalliance.com, sign up to be a member, sign up to our email list, get these little updates, come to the next event. I love being part of this organization, and you'll see me talking about them all the time. So if you want to connect with me, connect with them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gabby. Thank you for taking time out of your trip to drop these gems. And also, you guys, make sure that you are following us on Instagram at Black Travel Alliance and Twitter at the Black Travel A, because every Tuesday we are also sharing tips just like these about these topics that are important to Black content creators, because we want you to be at your very best. And as Travis, I didn't introduce Travis. I am so sorry. Mr. Levius. Properly introduce Travis Levius. He is the vice co-chair for the BTA training and events, and also one of our founding members. So, hey, Travis.
Hello, hello.
All right, so the next event, as we mentioned at the top of the webinar, is going to be September 19th. You don't want to miss this one. You all responded to our survey, and we listened. We saw what you want to hear about, what you want to learn about, and SEO was a really big one, and that's great because that means you're thinking about building traffic, and traffic means money. That is a business-minded decision. So we're happy to bring it to you. We have one of our very own founding members, Tamiko Harvey of Passports and Grubs. Tamiko is going to be facilitating that webinar. You don't want to miss that one on September 19th at noon Eastern time. Now, for this giveaway, we are happy to give away a SkyRoam today. SkyRoam is a pocket Wi-Fi device that you can use in over 130 countries to help you stay connected. Granted, we don't have a lot of countries to go to right now for those of us in the United States, but our global friends might get a chance to use it before many of us can. So we're giving away this SkyRoam. What do you need to do? Post today on your social media, in your you can do Instagram, you can do Twitter. We want you to post about it. We want you to tag us. So tag Black Travel Alliance or tag at the Black Travel A if you're on Twitter. Hashtag BTA webinar. Tell us one thing that you learned and how you're going to use it going forward to define your niche. Also, make sure you have joined the Black Travel Alliance. Go to theblacktravelalliance.com. Now, as far as the sessions, if you were late, if you missed it, because we had a lot of people sign up, we will have it. It's recorded. It's a recorded session. And so we will be sharing a way to share this with you to make sure that you will be able to access it. So we are happy you were here, happy that you've joined us. We'll also be sending out a brief survey after the fact because we love your feedback on this first webinar so we can continue to make them the best they can possibly be. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for joining, for the participation. Thank you again for the amazing, awesome, great questions. Thanks again to Gabby from PAX Light, and we will see you all next month. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.